Hey, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué onda? Yo soy Jonathan Antonio Martínez Machain de Tijuana, Baja California, México, y este es el podcast de Didgeridoo. Hey, what's up? My name is Jonathan Antonio Martínez Machain. I'm from Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, and this is the Didgeridoo podcast. This is English, so sometimes it's very difficult to talk. Today, guest is a Didgeridoo player from Oregon. Uh, let's give a welcome to Pamela Mortensen. What's up, Pamela? How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks, Jonathan. How are you?
Very, very good here with this new project. And I was choosing a lot of didgeridoo players around the world, and one of the persons that I first knew about didgeridoo, it's I don't remember this video of YouTube, but I saw it. It is very calm. It is like I think it's a C didgeridoo. It's back in the 2000, I think 12 or 13, something like that. It was very awesome, and I don't listen too much to calm tracks, but yours attract me. So
Ah,
I don't remember. I don't remember because I don't like to play very calm. Some players are like you, so attract they attract me. They oh you know oh, very very awesome track
thank
that
you.
you find in YouTube. This is the question that I always do to all the players. How was your first? Did you know about didgeridoo, and then how do you start to play didgeridoo?
Oh gosh. The first time I ever heard a didgeridoo was back in 1994, and it was actually at a classical music concert. So it was a piece that was written by a former teacher of mine in college, and she wrote it for string quartet and didgeridoo. And so as the string quartet came out, the guy came out with the didge right behind him, and I thought, oh, well, this is interesting. And so as the string players were tuning up, I watched the guy. He sat down on the floor and just kind of sat there with this big stick, and I had no idea what he was going to do with it. And I actually thought he was going to turn it sideways and tap on it as a percussion instrument. And then they nod at each other that they're so he turns it on in, blows through it, and out came this sound, this very deep sound. And I was kind of like, wow, what is that? What is that? And so that was my first introduction to didgeridoo. But it didn't occur to me to play it then. I thought it was a cool sound, but I was like, okay, it was really interesting. And then about 11 years later, in 2005, I walked into a CD store in Seattle and went to the little teeny tiny Australia section. And I saw three CDs. One of them was called Rainbow Serpent by David Hudson, who's an Aboriginal player. And I pulled it out, listened to it, and my idea was actually to just listen to little bits of each track, but I actually ended up listening to the whole thing. And that was my introduction to Didge, and I thought that David has a way of playing that makes it sound like so much fun. I was like, I have to learn how to do this. And so I bought the CD, and for the next year, that one CD was my teacher. So I learned a lot on that off that CD. So that's how I got started playing.
You learn didgeridoo with that CD in particular.
Yeah. I just pretty much imitated the sound that I heard,
Did you
or at
have
least
the opportunity to know David Hudson?
only a little bit, just like mostly but through email.
Or not in
And
person?
I Not in person, not yet. Actually, I've still yet to meet him, and
Okay.
so I think I'm gonna have to go to Australia to meet him.
Yeah, yeah. Never been in, you never been in Australia?
No,
You have
no, not yet. Yes, I would like to, especially going to the Northern Territory.
yeah, all the didgeridoo players around the world. Me also. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like my master's degree going to
Yes. 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 So yeah, going over there and
the international.
learning more about the culture there. I
Yeah,
think that would really deepen everything about didgeridoo for me.
it's more like a I say it in Spanish, intercambio cultural, like a exchange of culture, like
Yeah.
this kind of thing about when our the great chief. I didn't know why didn't have to pronounce the name and take off the pictures, but
Mm.
Omid explain us. But this is a cultural thing.
Yes.
In Mexican culture, it's backwards. you have
Ah.
you have seen, you have seen Coco.
Do we have what?
Yeah, if you have seen the movie Coco from Disney,
No, I haven't.
that movie it's about the Dia de Muertos. So
Oh, okay.
if we want to make something about Dia de Muertos with the great chief, it's bad to them, but it's like good to us. Is well, like very weird also going over there to exchange the cultures, like
Yeah.
all your background culture. Try to learn from them, but also teach in open more like um everything open. My English today is not so good. I have everything in my head in Spanish. When I want to put it in English, it's like
It's okay. It's better than me trying to speak Spanish.
let's go to another thing. Um, let's see this. Tell me about your experience in Mexico City.
Ah.
Yeah, tell me.
Uh,
At this festival, I couldn't go because my wife was sick, and I had
right.
to stay over here in Tijuana and take care of my wife. But this it was the best festival on Mexico. It was so international. It was you over there. It was insane,
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. It was a wonderful experience meeting all the Mexican Didge players. I had no idea there were so many of you down there playing. And so it was really a treat to meet everybody. And it was a treat to meet artistes, the folks from Eastern Europe. It was really fun meeting them. But I think the best experience was just the people. I really loved meeting the people, playing with them, getting to know them, and I mean, it was such a wonderful experience. And unfortunately, I kind of had to leave early because I wasn't feeling well. So, but but yeah, I was really glad that Omar, who is the main coordinator, put this together. It was really a treat to learn not just about the Mexican Didge players, but about Mexico itself.
Yeah, yeah.
You have such a rich cultural history down there in a way that America doesn't have. So it was really awesome. I really loved it.
And then the big thing, if I do another TJridoo like 2016, you will notice because I want you to come to play over here in Tijuana. You will notice it's very different from Mexico City. We're all from the south, center of
Hmm.
Mexico. Tijuana is another thing, very different. You will feel like everybody's talking in Spanish, but it feels like in the U.S. Why?
Yeah. It might be because you're so close to the border.
In fact, we are more closer to the U.S. than the rest of Mexico because
Yep.
Sonora is a big, big, big gap without people. All the
Right.
Sonora desert
Yeah.
is more closer the San Diego. It's San Diego is just 20 minutes or 2 hours because the border crossing you have to make a line and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's so close.
Yeah.
Also, I was watching that there is a lot of didgeridoo makers, but there is few female didgeridoo makers. How do you start to make the didgeridoos? Because I have seen a lot of DJs that you make of yucca, and they are
Hmm.
so awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just curiosity mostly that got me started. I there was a I was living in Seattle at the time, and there was a guy by the name of CJ Bastron, whose wife is Mexican, by the way. And he started making didgeridoos, and I started asking him questions about it. And he's like, "Oh, you should make some." And I'm like, "Okay." So I asked him where we could get yucca, because yucca doesn't grow up here the way it grows down in the south. I mean, we do have it, but it's very small. And so he told me that he got it at this one costume and display store. Um,
Oh yeah.
so I went and bought 3 stalks, and I kept looking at them, going, "Okay, I have these. Now what? What do I do with them?" And it just so happened there was that weekend a guy had advertised about a didgeridoo making workshop about 60 miles south of where I was living. And so I drove down there. It was a cold winter day, it had been snowing. And so I drove through the snow to reach his place. And there were about, oh, I think 7 or 8 of us there making didgeridoos while it was snowing. And we had a great time. I took the yucca stalks down there, we split them open, and I thought, oh, this looks really easy. I mean, we were actually just pulling the stuff out by hand at that point. And I had such a great time that I thought, this is really, really fun. And in making didgeridoos, it helped me learn a lot about the acoustics of
Yeah.
didgeridoo. So, yeah, that really kept me going. And um, yeah, since then I've learned to refine my own making skills over the last, 15 years that I've been doing this. Um, and yeah, it's been fun. I'll keep doing it until I can't. So
And you never try to make hardwood DJs to use starting to use power tools. Hello, the connection maybe.
oh yeah, this internet connection is not very stable here. So I think it'll stabilize.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I
All
was
right.
I was
Yeah.
asking that you have never tried to make a hardwood DJs to start to use power
I
tools.
made one. Yeah, I made one. It was a black oak didge, and actually, the didge player Tyler Spencer has it. So,
Mm.
so I no longer have it. Tyler has it. So,
And what key was that
but
DJ?
yeah, E flat, I believe.
E flat. One of my favorite keys is
Yeah,
in
yeah,
between in E and
yeah,
E flat. So
yeah. It's one of my favorites too.
there is a you have lots of videos on YouTube. This
Hmm. Uh-huh.
How much time do you how ay, ¿cómo? ¿Cuánto tiempo tenías tocando? How much time you were playing at that time?
Oh gosh, let's see. I think that was in 2009, so I'd been playing for 4 years.
4 years playing right in that
Yeah,
video.
yeah. Or maybe it was 2008. I don't know. Somewhere around there. So about 3 or 4 years that I'd been playing.
There also you had it on Bandcamp. You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
lots of materials.
Yeah, yeah. Most of it's didgeridoo. There's some things that are not didgeridoo, but most of them are. So,
Where is there is it's one of that is not didgeridoo, and I was listening
ah,
to it
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, that one is not didgeridoo. That's actually native. Oh
Uh,
man, I think with this one, the inspiration for this particular song comes from the experience that we've all been having over the last 2.5 years with COVID,
mm,
and how that has changed so many people in so many different ways. And the title "What Remains" comes from what would remain when everything else goes away. And for me, that thing is love. And so this is kind of a love song in a way. So even though it doesn't sound like one, it's kind of a love song to being human and having like all of the human things from the joy, the sorrow, the sadness, and the wonderfulness of being human. It for me is packed into this song. So
beautiful. And you have you are also a full-time player, didgeridoo, or you would make another things?
well, it's I wouldn't say a full-time player of didgeridoo. I mean, I do a lot of other things too. I make the didges, I teach about didge, but yeah, it's pretty much a full-time job for me with all of those things
Yeah,
put together.
I was
Yeah,
like didgeridoo player. It's just saying, but
yeah,
what do you what
yeah. Just kind of covering the.
just didgeridoo? There is nothing else that
Oh gosh, I play piano. I've played keyboard for 54 years.
have a
um,
musician
and
background.
the background I have, let's see, I started playing keyboard when I was 6, so you can kind of put the math together and figure out how old I am right now. But and then I started singing when I was about 29.
Uh-huh.
So I was back in what 1989 or something like that, and then so I play keyboard, I sing, I play Native American flute, and then there's a type of frame drum that I play that's called a daf, which you play this way, so you have it sitting on your lap and you play it this way.
A
So
Persian.
it's a very it's yeah yeah. So there's a few other instruments that I play in addition to didgeridoo.
What is your favorite combination? Didgeridoo and
Didgeridoo and frame drum, I think.
name.
It's the, yeah, yeah, that's a great combination. I really like that a lot because the frame drum, because of where it comes from, which is usually Persia, better known as Iran,
Mhm.
has these rhythms that really are so danceable. And when you look at the history of places like Iran, Turkey, etc., you'll find that there's a beautiful music that's from the Sufi traditions
Okay.
there. And it's mostly used for what's called turning, which is yeah, oftentimes thought of as being dance, but it's not. It's actually a spiritual practice.
Mm.
And so basically, um, if you know what turning is, you'll know that this is what the whirling dervishes do. So they have the big skirts and then the tall hats, and they all they do is just turn round and round and round and round and round to the music.
That's a very hypnotic. Only you just
Yeah,
watching them just dancing without music. It's like whoa.
yeah, yeah.
Now
It's
full
really beautiful. It's really
full
beautiful.
performance with Daft Drum and Didgeridoo and the dance. It will be like mind blown. And also, if you go to mushrooms or LSD,
You're Yeah, there's no mushrooms needed on this end. I just get a natural high off of things. So yeah,
here at Bandcamp, this is your first.
yeah. This is the very first album I ever put out. This was actually put out just before I started playing didgeridoo, so there's no didgeridoo on it. But I was talking to a friend about this album the other day, and I said that it was probably the most imaginative album that I have right now. So, because every song is so different from each other. So yeah, you can kind of get a taste of a little bit of everything with this album, but a lot of it is influenced and inspired by music from the Middle East.
Well, the Middle East. That is your one of your favorite cultures, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm part Turkish, so that's that stands to reason.
Uh,
So,
Viene en la sangre. It comes in the blood.
yep, yep, yep. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just comes in the soul. So,
Then, which one is your first didgeridoo? Uh,
Tree Speak, the orange and brown one there.
just the second one is the.
Yeah, that's the first Stitch album, and I think that came out in
Oh,
2006 or seven. No, it was later than that. I think it was 2007 or 8. And the video that you played earlier, let's
huh.
see, uh, I don't see it on here. Yeah, that video. Oh no, wait, Friend is on a different album. Friend is on the album with the flower on it. But yeah, no, this was a fun album to make. The Tree Speak album. They've all been fun, but this one was particularly fun to put together.
Yeah, the
Uh,
titles. Do you put a story on each track, or just what it comes? Okay.
well, with this album, it was more coming from a point of living in urban setting because I was living in Seattle when I made this album, and there are a couple tracks that were inspired, like Dance with Me and especially Urban Feet. Um, Urban Feet was inspired by a group of roller skaters
Ah,
that would like they would go out every Saturday at this place called Green Lake, and they would do all these dance tricks on their roller skates, and so that's where Urban Feet came from. And so I thought, if I were to write a song for these people, what would it sound like? And this is what the song came out.
let's see. Let's see. I'm very curious because the story behind it, the roller skaters. It's like, caray. On the first track, the other one,
Jariza?
it was the Uran feet. Do you were using two didgeridoos?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, two digits on Urban Feet, and then there's two digits on Dance with Me. So
Dance.
two, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
did duet with myself.
You recorded in different tracks.
Yes. Yep.
It sounds like you are playing like this is the main didgeridoo, but it sounds another one like in the left, right ear.
Yeah.
Then it's
Yeah.
start playing this side, and then whoa, it was like what it's so awesome. This one is the urban fits in the it's a, like a very catchy rhythm.
Uh huh.
Boom, 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 boom. And what
Yeah.
is
That
yeah?
particular rhythm is you find it in a couple of different cultures. But it is a rhythm from the Middle East. I forget the name of it, but it is from the Middle East.
I played that kind of rhythm in Darbuka in Lumbek.
Mm,
Uh,
hmm
boom, boom, ta, boom, ta.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that might be Malfouf. I can't remember. I always get the names mixed up,
But
but yeah.
then Latin America came and screwed all up.
Uh,
It made it like reggaeton, like ah. And they use the same pattern. Boom, ta, boom, tam, boom. Now only
yeah, yeah.
backwards. Boom, ta, boom, tam, boom, ta, boom, tam. Like oh please don't do
Yeah.
this
Well,
when
I.
the
Oh,
the
go ahead.
when the drum is played like that, like tum ta tum tan tum ta tum tan, with that feeling, it doesn't feel like reggaeton. It feels like it comes from the origin, you know.
Hmm.
It's so good.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, when I use a drum track like that, I have to keep in mind that less is better when I play didgeridoo with a track like that, because it's really easy to get real technical with it. But the way I like to approach didgeridoo is more musical. So, if I need to have like big space in between things, then I'll do that just to kind of make it more musical and more interesting to listen to.
Yeah, yeah, because there is some other players that they make a track and then it's
Right, right.
and there is no space for didgeridoo, and they put the didgeridoo like, okay, let me put it over there.
Hmm.
Like a lot of people over in the beach, hey, play this and this song with this, but no, I can't. Why not? It is like citrons and washers and masters and space for me to go in. If I whatever I wanna play, it's because I already play it in my house and blah 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 blah. So this kind of productions, your productions, it's so good
Thank
performance
you.
because it's it's not so simple, but also not like you said that too less is much. No,
Hmm.
how do you say that's
Less is more.
less is more, less is more, less is more.
Yep,
Like
yep.
not so I'm oh my fucking English. I was about to speak Spanish. I have like 4 or 5 days without speaking English.
Ah,
And it's kind of
little brain glitches there.
yeah, yeah, it's very complicated. Right now, it's very complicated because I'm thinking in Spanish
Right,
and I
right.
have to convert it in translate it in English. But back 5 6 years days ago, I was thinking in speaking in straight English.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't speak English anymore, and I go back again to to this kind of ah. So
It's like when I was down in Mexico in 2017, I was trying to pull up my Spanish and it kept coming out as French. I don't know why. It was just weird. Like I'd go into a grocery store and I'd say merci beaucoup instead of saying muchas gracias. It's like, I'm like, no, you're not in France, you're in Mexico. So
I
it
can
was kind of
imagine
funny.
the expression of the Mexican people. Like,
Oh, they were like, what? What did you just say?
yeah, it's so crazy.
It was hilarious.
I also I have seen that you also teach. How much students do you have?
Right now, it's not. It's kind of a light load. I have two students right now, just because it's summertime still. So, but once fall hits, it'll probably pick back up. So,
You do online and presence?
mostly online over the last 3 years, just because of the pandemic. But I'll probably start doing in person as things start picking up. So yeah.
Which part of Oregon do you live? In the coast or?
Well, actually, yeah, actually, I'm living in Washington right now. So, um, but I've been like splitting my time between Washington and Oregon, so it's kind of hard to tell which one I'm in.
Ever been over
But
to the south, California?
oh yeah, yeah, I've actually been down near San Diego. So I've been down there twice. So and there's a highway, I think it's Highway 8. Highway 8 that goes through California going west east.
See,
Goes right by Mexico. I mean, like Mexico is right there. It's like, wow, just over that fence is another country. It's kind of weird. So
yes,
yeah,
you'll be at the not in Tijuana, in Tecate City,
yeah, yeah,
east.
yeah, yeah. It was, yeah. You saw the vast expanse of the Sonoran Desert there. So it
How
was
how big is the community of Didgeridoo over there in that specific corner of the U.S., Oregon
it.
and Washington?
I think Oregon is probably more didgeridoo players, or at least they're more active than Washington is. But what I would like to do in future is get a whole Pacific Northwest didgeridoo player thing going. So I'm kind of working on that right now to do maybe an online circle
Mhm.
for didgeridoo players. Maybe just start with the people in the Pacific Northwest, but then open it up a little bit later on to people from other countries and other states. So that's kind of percolating in my head right now about how I could do that. So
Very very random questions. I always
that's all right.
uh,
I'll have random answers.
this one is going to be a little bit tough, but we have to talk about it. How was your? I was with you, and I was with also a lot of ladies, the players from around the world. How the idea came, and I started to talk with a lot of players. Uh, Adele, Agustina, Liz, you from Brazil, from a lot of places around the world. How do you? How was when I first told you? How was the idea in your head? Like, whoa, women players. Then the experience. Then how do you manage all that situation?
Okay, so this sounds like we're talking about the Women's Didgeridoo Festival that we were going to do online. Yeah.
Yes.
So at first, it was great. Seeing other women players from other countries, it was really awesome. And I kind of had a feeling we were going to draw some attention from the Aboriginal women,
Mhm.
because I don't feel that you could do something this public without drawing attention.
Mm.
So, but I had no idea it was going to be so huge. I mean, it was really, really big. And so, when things started getting intense, I I thought, wow, it was like all of a sudden, all of these. Aboriginal women came out of nowhere and started talking about how women shouldn't be playing didgeridoo, which I had known about for quite some time. I'd known about it since almost the day one
Mm-hmm.
when I started playing. And so while it didn't surprise me that Aboriginal women spoke up, what did surprise me was the numbers that showed up. I mean, there were thousands of people that showed up. And so for me, um, the most immediate thing for me to do was to kind of shut everything down. I shut my website down. I shut down, once the festival itself reached a fever pitch and it was shut down,
Mm-hmm.
then I shut down my website, my social media, and YouTube just to kind of like let the dust settle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to thinking about it for about a week and a half after all of that happened, and I thought we really need some really good discussion about you know, how non-Aboriginal women can continue to play without feeling offensive to Aboriginal women. And so I've been, for the last 2 years after this has taken place, I'm hoping that sometime in the future that, we can sit down with Aboriginal women and say, look, we know this is offensive to you, but just know we're probably not going to stop playing, but at the same time, we don't want to be offensive. Um, and they know too that non-Aboriginal women are not going to stop playing. What was explained to me by a couple of these people were that we know that you're not going to stop playing,
Mm-hmm.
but just the way you were presenting yourselves just felt like it was in our faces. And so for me, hearing that meant being a little more aware of how I present myself as a didgeridoo player and being a woman and taking care, not to be
Mm-hmm.
offensive to people. So um, that has really played a big role in how I present myself online. Um, so yeah, it's a big thing, and eventually, I think what's going to happen is an acceptance that women, non-Aboriginal women, simply just aren't going to quit playing. But we also have to, on our side, also have to realize that this is a sacred instrument to Aboriginals. And as such, it deserves it. We need to respect it as such.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely things that need to be talked about on cultural levels. What's expected on both sides.
Yeah,
So
I guess like if the title of the festival was a little bit different, it was power, right?
yeah,
If
yeah,
if
yeah.
that word it wasn't that word, maybe, maybe.
Yeah, I think wording really has a lot to do with how people feel. Yeah, having the women's power didgeridoo festival. Yeah, I think the word power was.
Yes, it was too much because over
Yeah,
here in Mexico, power is yeah, it sounds in Spanish poder. It sounds a little bit rude, but not so rude. It roots on the context of like we are women, like I'm woman, you know,
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
power like not
Right.
like that.
Well,
The
this kind of, I think too, this kind of brings up on our side of the fence. I think it brings up how women have been treated, and especially in my culture,
mm-hmm,
over the last 2,000 years. And so when you look at the European history
mm-hmm,
of how women have been treated, how they've been subjugated and persecuted and, I mean, murdered and raped and a bunch of other things, I think maybe Aboriginal women, they might be able to see some of the parallels to their own experiences. So it's not so much that, we're like this. It's more like the power that you find within.
Yes.
which gives you the ground, a good, steady, solid ground to stand on. So I think that's important to differentiate between this kind of power and this kind of power. So,
It was. It just was. I was like thinking that just the name. If we didn't use that word, but also I didn't. ¿Cómo no me quedé con los brazos cruzados? I didn't stay like this.
right.
I made a research about all the people that made the signs and all the people that they were bots. All the same bit. No, I can say 85% of those people they were bots.
Mm,
I can tell I discovered a lot of people of Central America, a lot of people from Pakistan in India.
mm,
And those people they were like saying to me that I don't have to play because I love I told you this before. I love the pictures from my back. And I have a
mm,
lot of pictures with my long hair. I had no more. We're playing didgeridoo by my back and my long hair, and those people there, you can play because you're a woman, blah blah blah. They didn't bother to see my whole profile.
yeah,
They were just attacking. They were both.
yeah,
They
yeah.
were both. There was a bunch of boats, and it was like not a huge community. It was like a small group of 20, 30
Mm, mm,
people.
mm.
Because I have seen a lot of didgeridoo women players from South Australia,
Ah, yeah.
and this is tricky. Like what I was like, what the they supposed to were fighting because they were fighting because they don't want women playing and they're starting to play.
Yeah,
It-
it's I don't know, it's kind of a tricky
Mhm.
subject really
Yeah.
because there's so much information and who's to say what's true and what's not true. I mean, it's a lot of information. You hear from these people, it's like, yes, women do play, but not for this. Or no, women don't play at all. They don't even touch it. They don't look at it. And it's kind of like, what's true?
And
What's true?
the
So,
it's traditionally, but is the tradition and the culture, but it sometimes is like I would put my example like Mexican culture. I don't I I'm as a Mexican. I just discovered 2 years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, that I'm an indigenous. I'm a Yaqui
mm,
from Sonora Desert. I have like my grandmother came from straight from the Yaqui tribes, and uh, he went to Sonora, Hermosillo. My grandfather born, then my whole family here in Tijuana, and it's like I'm discussing about Aztec or Mayan things that it's away from me. The Aztecs is from south, the center of Mexico, Mexico City.
right,
Mayans,
right.
they are from another peninsula, Yucatan, over there in Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Sea, and I'm all this way in Atlantic. And all the people that I investigated because I know how to track the IP address and all that kind of stuff. I know how to do it. They were only bots, and the minority of those people that were real, they were from the extreme south.
Ah,
And
yeah.
when I was talking to them that the northern, it was like more angry. They get more angry, like it's like if
Oh,
they
wow.
have a wound. And oh no, you are from the south. The Juridu origin is from the north. It was like in the west.
Right.
And they were like, "Wah!" And I don't know why I should take some screenshots and screen everything to keep all the evidence.
right.
If I go back,
Well,
I can do it again because all the hates, all the angry faces and all that
yeah,
still there.
yeah,
I will
yeah.
do it in the future, so I can show that all the majority they were bots. And then this like whiplash becomes a big like uh what is it on the sea,
Oh, like a tidal wave.
like a tidal wave
Yeah,
over TikTok. The good thing, TikTok, it was not so popular at the moment,
right, right,
because right now, if that was like very trendy on TikTok,
right.
it will kill us like well,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, like I said, it's a tricky thing because it's a tricky issue.
mhm.
And I think if
You say F, and then the record the your video stopped. Also, your microphone stopped. The internet connection, we have problems. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait a little bit so he can. Uh, oh, okay.
okay, I'm not sure what happened there. So,
You said
anyways,
just and then cut. If
yeah, I was gonna say I know for Aboriginal culture, um, they've been through a lot over the last 350 years
mm,
with white settlers, and it's not just what we see on the surface, but it's what we don't see underneath the surface as well, and what hasn't been discussed yet, and all of the hurt and the anger and the mistrust that
mhm,
has come out of that.
mhm.
Um, uh, I don't think you can actually feel that until you actually go through it. And so, for somebody who's never gone through that on a personal level, it's really hard to understand. You know,
In
that kind of anger.
in a personal level, can say like Mexico still living kind of the same thing.
Right,
Like
right.
my people from Jackie, they are fighting for their land
Yeah,
because over
yep.
there the Canadians and some companies from the US minery, they want
Hmm.
gold from Sonora. Over there in Sonora, it's gold, silver, and the material for the cell phone battery,
Oh, like platinum and stuff.
and
Yeah,
also water.
yep,
They are not so I can tell that I know it, that kind of of frustration per se.
yeah,
I was thinking this is my main thing that I want to go over there because make a cultural um, exchange.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like feel your brother because
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
also I'm from a country who was Europeans, the conquistadores, because
Right.
at that time it was not Spain, it was conquistadores, it was another thing, and they took all over Mexico and Central America, blah blah blah, and now we are free. But now the Whitexicans, because we have that Whitexicans,
The whites.
yes, Mexican white people that
Right,
they're
right.
trying to take all. It's a very weird thing that
Yeah,
say
yeah.
we feel you, brother. If we can fight this together. If you open your mind, we can do something together. In look at me, I'm not white. I'm not
Right,
white. We can do something to help us each other. It doesn't matter if I'm all the way here in Mexico and you are all the way over there in Australia.
right,
We
right.
have these kind of things right now. You are in Washington.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah,
in Tijuana.
yeah.
We are talking about these kind of things, and we can make a lot of things by distance.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the biggest gifts that playing an indigenous instrument can give us, is opening the door to understanding someone else's culture. Because when I started playing didgeridoo, I had no idea. I mean, I knew Aboriginals were there,
Mm-hmm.
but I had no idea who they were. I had no idea what they were about. And because of didgeridoo, I've learned so much, and I know there's a lot more to learn, but I've learned so much about how beautiful their culture is. It's just, there's so many things because they are so tied to the land that they're on. Um, it's a type of relationship with their land that somebody like me that could never understand. Um, and I mean, I feel like a tie to the land here, but it's not the same. It's not the same as an Aboriginal. It's um, so yeah, I think playing an indigenous instrument really opens the door to a lot of other things in life that can be open for discussion. You know, things
Yeah.
like cultural relationships with between us as human beings and the land that we live on,
Mm-hmm.
um, and relationships with our own kind. You know, like my relationship with other Americans. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you know, how can that improve? You know, what can I do to make that improve? So yeah, I mean, you know, being a keyboard player is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's given me a lot, but I think playing didgeridoo has given me a whole lot more when it comes to other things like that, when it comes to things like relationships. So it's been a really amazing instrument in so many ways.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
like mind blown. Mind.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you got COVID?
I had COVID in August.
How do you manage the COVID? Do you
Well,
get
I
a lot
I
of
asked.
sickness or something?
No, no, it's just mostly a stuffy nose. That was it.
This is crazy. This is so crazy. Didgeridoo players didn't like us, like we play a lot. We didn't get so sick.
Yeah. I think it's because the oxygen. I mean, when you play Didge, you're doing a lot of oxygen intake. So
We have a very
do a lot of breathing. Yeah. Yeah, we do a lot of breathing, and I think that makes a huge difference.
you meet him in Mexico City. His name was Carlos with Balam Cuellar, Carlos Cuellar.
Yeah.
He has oxygen. You know that this little machine that you put in the thumb,
Oh, yeah.
oxygen. He was
Yeah.
79, 79,
Wo- Wow.
79.
Yeah.
The doctor said to him, "What the? You're supposed to be dead.
Wow.
What do you do for a living?" I play didgeridoo.
Yep. Yep.
When I got COVID, I was feeling like like oh, cannot breathe.
Right. Right.
Grab my didgeridoo, start to playing. Tra, 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 tra.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. It was the same for me.
so weird.
Yeah.
So weird,
Yeah.
but so awesome. So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Thank
Oh,
you very
thank
much
you.
for this little chat.
Yeah.
Too much things to tell, too much things to compartir. How is that in English? Compartir, share,
Share. Yeah.
share.
Yep.
Yes, too much
Yeah.
to share. This magnificent instrument that can join us together as brothers. It doesn't matter the color of skin. It doesn't matter your culture. It
No.
doesn't matter your
No.
country. We get united
Yeah.
with this instrument in particular. From
Yes.
our masters, we can say that they are the masters of this super awesome instrument. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you very much. Thank
Oh,
you very
thank
much.
you.
Your
Thank you.
last words.
Oh, um, just if you're a player, keep playing, keep doing what you're doing. And if you're a listener, listen well, because didgeridoo can do so much more than you think it does. So, so yeah. it's, yeah, that's my parting shot. So,
Acá está. Thank you very much. My
all
name is
right, thank you.
Antonio Martinez Machain. And
Pamela Mortensen.